Hmm. I'll move you guys over. Hey guys, sorry for the trying to put my camera mount in a better spot. Oh, fucker. You guys are doing good? Yeah, so right now we're going to be trying to make sure my camera mount doesn't fall off. Hey, sorry, kind of trying to get this camera mount. So I'm still going to be working on stuff. Hey, can you guys let me know? Can you hear me with I got the lav mic? Can you guys hear me through the mic? Okay. So right now, I kind of took a break. I had some burnout because of September and October. I kind of did too much stuff last minute and burnt myself out. So I took a break. So now me and Dad, we're going to be revamping the shop. So Stompy, my treadle hammer, we're going to have to disassemble. But we get to reuse the anvil for our power hammer. This thing weighs roughly 156 pounds. And then there's another piece of steel that I got that weighs like 136 pounds. And also we got room to weld on a bunch of metal. So we're going to remove Stompy. We're going to reorganize. I'm still working on some videos and stuff. And I got some stuff I got to post on my Etsy. But right now we're going to be working on just trying to get this place organized. I want to work on projects. Like besides making cool stuff for upcoming Blade shows in the spring, I want to do some anime weapon rebuilds. Like I want to, forge kunais and other stuff. So we're going to be working on that. Now, any of you guys watching, do any of you do any bladesmithing, blacksmithing, or any form of crafting? It's a good outlet being able to makes, you're still like, I'm still new. Like, I've been off and on doing it for like 4 or 5 years. I'm by no means an expert in any of this crap. That's why this thing is redneck MacGyver piece of work. Also, trying to plan and film build videos is a lot more difficult than I ever thought it would be. Like when you watch people that do um like gaming or other stuff, that's just funny stuff, or other things. But when you're trying to like make something but also explain it and show people how to make stuff, like I have a build video on my channel how to make a simple gas forge. That video, I easily could have made it like way too long, but I had to cut it so it's not forever. One of the things with getting a lot of your tools from the flea market, you don't realize just how much cool stuff you could find. This is a really long flathead screwdriver. It feels like I have a sword, but also a lot of the phone camera mount options that are not like ridiculously expensive, a lot of them suck. This one's a better one than one I had before, but this thing's kind of a pain to find where I can set things up, and because I'm trying to have this in a spot not too weird, so you guys can see most of the shop, but at the same time, it's a bit of a pain. And also leverages against this thing, so. But we're getting there. That's the thing. It's always slowly but surely. We may not get there right away, but we're going to get there. So if you guys are wondering why it's taken me forever for the power hammer, last year or just before the new year of 2025, I finally finished college and been working a job full time, night shift, which still not the biggest fan of only night shift, but it is what it is. So trying to get good habits and organize time and other stuff has been a challenge, but I'm learning. But over here, we got the belt grinder. My previous attempt at having a dust collector. So a while ago on Facebook Marketplace, we found a It was a chimney vacuum. So like guys that do like chimney sweeping and stuff. But it had too much yep. All right, I'll be right back, guys. I gotta put the mic down.
Going in and out, let me get that. Yeah.
I had a little bit of burnout when I did the first field when I was coming down, pushed myself too hard, so I kind of took like almost a week off to do stuff. And now I slowed down and figured out what I want to do for the shop and the YouTube stuff. Like, I had one video on my kind of attention blade deal. I think it's working. Not getting any place for it, but I figured out the style and stuff. And also like this big thing with education. People like learning this stuff. It's important to fire video implementations and then you got different movies, older stuff that makes people cool.
Hey, it's all a learning experience. I gotta go use your head. Continue the good work though, man.
I will. Just had to help my grandmother with stuff. But we're working toward great things, guys. So sorry for yeah, look, I can, yeah, with the gloves on. In a world. Yeah, that's the thing. I do want to recreate like some like anime and pop culture weapons. Like I want to try to turn this big ass wrench into a sword, if it can be heat treated. Because if I can use my acetylene torch, if I split it right here, I'd be able to. Yeah, there's a lot of gunk on that. I'd be able to use the actual this part to be like an integral guard, and then forge out the chunk, so then I can make some form of sword. Like these are some of the knives I got to finish up that I will be putting on my Etsy. This is a blacksmith knife, so that means, you know, Viking style knife. So I got to grind in the bevel and make a sheet for this. But it's made from rebar, and I did test these and these were able to get pretty hard. So rebar is not a perfect material, but it's similar to like railroad spike knives. It's a novelty. People like it because it's a cool thing. It's not a performance thing, but you know, this is something that realistically in Apocalypse you could actually make this because, you know, you don't need to glue up any handles or anything. And I was only able to do this with the treadle here, but this is my first ever hatchet. My dad made the handle, and then I kind of torched it to bring out the grain of the ash. But especially once we get the power hammer made, I'll be able to make bigger hatchets and stuff. So I got to make this. The nice guy at the scrapyard that gave me a really good deal on the big 2-inch wrought iron. I got to make a sheath for this and give it to him because he gave me a deal. Yeah. You need
Huh?
Need more help with stuff? Or?
No.
All right.
I love
Love
you.
you. Be safe. Have fun.
I will.
She knows where you're gonna be, so,
Yeah.
you know, that's the big thing. Sit in front. Sit in front.
She's just putting her stuff in the back.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait a minute. That's right, too. This thing
Just,
does, this does whatever it
if you
wants.
can, I might not be here when by the time you guys get there, but could you just call the home phone and say, hey, we got the main, that way
You
we
got
know.
it. I'm guessing between 4 and 5.
Okay. Yeah, my grandmother's going on a trip with some family, so just making sure that they call when she gets there, because also I gotta make more of these. What do you guys think of gonna be making more of these? This one's a prototype, but we'll be making more of these. Pieces to a camera part, I think. Also, this is my first metal engraving. I tried doing a hidden leaf symbol. I got to edit that video, but I made I had like some. Yeah, let me help.
Yeah, these doors are wide.
All right,
Yes, you go.
love you. Be safe.
All right.
Oh, can you grab that? All right. Saying goodbye. Had my some 1/4-inch coil spring, and I made a little metal engraver. So it's my first time doing metal engraving. So you know what we're gonna be working on in the future, right? We're gonna work on making an anime series, make the headband, and then kunai and the cooler stuff from Naruto. Apologize for that. I got acid reflux. What do I get? Trying to find my beans, mate. Not my beans, my bean. Also, one of the things that we're going to be working on is I really want to do like a realistic, like dying light, like weapon mod Because like that's obviously I know it's a video game and they want to make cool stuff, but like there's some like realistic weapon mods for like farming equipment or tools that you could actually turn into zombie apocalypse survivable stuff. Okay. You got too much shit, Mike. Got to bin here somewhere that I could use. Nope. All right. Okay. Yeah, trying to start from the ground up, and we're because I got some scrap steel that I don't want to throw out, but at the same time, I don't want it on the ground. And that's another thing. If you can ever get some milk crates, they're great for low ground stuff. And just because you have off cuts doesn't mean you gotta throw them out, but also if it gets to the point where it's annoying, it's honestly better to do that. But these are all small enough pieces where I could use them for welding sculptures or whatever. All right. Okay, moving some stuff outside, so I'll be back, guys. Making my way downtown, walking fast. Yeah. definitely in the springtime for the outdoor metal storage, we're gonna make like a lean-to, because it's really annoying having all the leaves and stuff kind of blocking. For the power hammer, I welded this a while ago. I gotta download that video and try to edit it, but this is the offset cam that we're gonna use to drive the power hammer. We could also make a trip hammer, like a Clay Spencer tire style one, but I'm trying to make a hybrid power hammer where it's got a captive ram, so like, you know, the arm that moves it moves in an arc, but the actual ram part itself goes straight up and down. That's why I made the roller wheel thing. Obviously, it's more complicated and has more risk for failure, but I'd rather mess up and learn and then be able to actually make like a proper thing. But I think we'll be able to make it work. Because I want to see if I can make a power hammer, trail hammer hybrid. So like, you know, its main function is a power hammer, but you disconnect the linkage from the regular treadle that tips the motor with the contact wheel up into the cam offset cam wheel, and then you just attach the spring to keep the ram captive, like floating, just like a regular treadle hammer. And that way you'd actually be able to have two machines in one. So that's kind of the goal I kind of made a couple of years ago. Been through a lot, so we're kind of finally settling down and planning things out. Also, besides scrap yards, trying to get new steel for a good price. I got this, these are some inch hot rolled bars and a bunch of half-inch bar lengths, and these are, I got these for like, forgot what it was, like 50 cents a pound or something. So that's a really good deal. So sometimes if you go to like your local steel supply place, you know, that sells like new steel stock like this stuff, sometimes they'll have a bunch of offcuts. They'll have like a section, and that way, you know, if you're just looking for smaller pieces, or you want some larger stock but you don't want to buy a full 12-foot bar of inch square bar, you can get this stuff. And I saw that stuff and I wanted to get it because I want to try to do some mild steel forge welded carbon bit tomahawks. But I definitely need the power hammer for that, because my shoulder, when I first started, I was kind of an idiot with the forging, so I kind of, shoulder has limited life. It's not the worst, but I will say flea markets and yard sales can be your best friend. I got this hole puncher from I forgot where I got it, but it wasn't too expensive. So it was nice to be able to find something like that. And you guys probably see by the end of this month, we'll have the, definitely have the power hammer up and functioning. My goal with this is, I want the anvil base to be removable from the main body of the hammer, so that way, when I do eventually move, because I would like to eventually move to a bigger shop in the future, we can remove the anvil, just like how, because I've been watching like a bunch of like old school like Beaudries and Little Giants, and a lot of them, they're designed to have the anvil removable, so that way the whole unit isn't awkward. Obviously, this thing's a long, awkward thing, so having the anvil attached would make it a nightmare to move. Even if you had a freaking forklift, the balance point would be terrible. So that's why we're trying to make this thing so that we can remove parts that we need to, and yeah. Oh yeah, all the dust. Yeah, for now I'm just gonna move my This is an ammo can I got from a flea market. It's great for a water bucket, but I gotta dump the water out. We're gonna waterboard a whole ant colony with this. Okay, of course. Yeah, the good thing, because we are going to use the anvil from the treadle hammer, the power hammer, you know, this first iteration of a top to bottom die sucks. I got this old drilling rod. 'Cause when my dad worked construction, they had a bunch of drill rods that got bent and messed up from drilling through feet of granite and other stuff. So we got a bunch of it. It is really tough to work with because I don't know what Rockwell it is, but I tried annealing a piece in the forge and let it cool down, and it barely softened. Like, it was a little bit softer, so I could actually cut it easier with the angle grinder. But that stuff is ridiculous. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of using used spring steel for blades, just because you don't know, the leaf spring pack is at a scrapyard for a reason. It got worn out. You can still make stuff from it, but failure just because of, they might have microscopic cracks internally that you can't see when you're forging, and then when you heat treat, then those cracks open up, because when the steel hardens, it shrinks and contracts, and those internal cracks that you see could actually shift and move more, because those are internal voids. So space for something to move, especially when it's hardening, it's going to move. And that's probably why, you see on Forge and Fire, people have steel that looks perfectly fine, but it's used scrap steel that they have for the competition. And they did the heat treat right. They didn't quench it too hot. They didn't forge it too cold. But it just happens to be luck of the draw. Did that happen? Those pieces of steel just happen to have defects in them. And also, if you're just looking for affordable hammers, outdoor flea markets are your best friend, because I got a hammer like this for like $5-10, and this is like an old school. It's a 2-pound. I got a scale, but I got a bunch of my hammers from flea markets. Like, this is an old school. I don't know exactly what this is used for, but I kind of rounded one end more than the other. And you can actually find a lot of really good deals. And especially if you get like yourself a draw shave, and you just have a vise, you can actually, just get a piece of, buy a wooden hammer handle from the store. Or if you got some scrap hardwood, you can make your own handle. Like, I've had to redo the handle on a couple of my hammers that I got from the flea markets. Yeah, this thing wasn't bad, but it wasn't. But for a side project, I'm going to be working on making more skulls. This is my first one I ever made. So I learned a lot, and I had to make a tool to help me make it. But I'll be able to do a video on how you can forge your own skulls, because especially if you want to make like just say you wanted to make a Gothic style knife, like you wanted it to have like the skull for a pommel, you could actually forge that from one piece, and that would be pretty cool. It's always hard trying to organize stuff, because you got stuff that is useful, but you don't want to have it get in your way, but then you also don't want to leave it outside, because then it'll get all crusty, and then you have to spend more time cleaning it. feel like a video game character. Just have a random crowbar. This is more of a pry bar than a crowbar. The crowbar, it has attracted all the crows. Oh, they're chasing away a hawk. That's cool as shit. Damn. It's like 2 crows beating up on a hawk that's flying away. I guess the hawk might have gone after them or gone after a nest. Yeah, this is a random scrap piece. I gotta figure out if it's hardened or not. Yeah, so even though my welding on this was crappy because I was using a stick welder, I can redo this. So we actually can have a rounding bottom die and rounding top die for the power hammer. So that's a good thing with being able to reuse the stuff from the trail hammer. Also, when I went to the scrapyard, I got, besides a bunch of rail spikes and other stuff, there's bolts. And I believe these are hardenable, but the thing I want to do is smooth the head and make like an arming, like an armorer's doming thing, so I can work on sheet metal and stuff. Yeah, I got to make more of these. These little, I just found this little guy, little owl bottle opener. I saw a YouTuber have it where the bottle opener is on the bottom, but to make it so that the beak is more the opener. It's more of like a folk art thing. Like it does work, but it's not the most comfortable palm bottle opener. And again, I thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. I know it's not, especially right now, not the most entertaining stuff, but in the process, probably by the end of this month, you'll see the shop properly organized and have a functioning power hammer. Because I want to make Damascus and also hatchets and hammers and a bunch of stuff. But there's a limit. That's the thing, like when I first started bladesmithing, my grandmother let me start because she loved Forge and Fire. And of course, you want to make swords, you want to make big stuff, but it's like, there's a limit to what you can do with your hand. And even though I'm a big guy, I'm not the strongest person, but and even if you like me, you're not the best welder. Even with the cheap stick welder, you can make stuff. So these, I got to finish a bunch of these, but these are paper towel holders that you can mount underneath a cabinet or outside and whatever. But I made this little bending jig that I could fit into my hardy hole for my anvil, and that way you can use a bending fork and bend that. I'll be right back. I gotta go. Sorry, guys, I had to use the bathroom. I didn't want to bring the mic there. You don't want to be hearing my piss audio. make sure that's in a safe spot. All right, can't find the other glove. Also, if you guys are ever looking for like rubber gloves that you want to use that have some chemical resistance to like acetone and stuff that also aren't like thin and crappy, the auto store like Napa or other auto part stores, you can get a good box of gloves that are a little bit, some of them, if you really want ones that are chemical resistant, you can ask them. That way, if you're using acetone or stuff that's known solvents for stuff. That big thing I just picked up is a trailer hitch arm, whatever it's called. Found on the side back, and I think it's hardenable, where I might be able to make some hammers from it. Because it can't be just mild steel, because when you're hauling literal tons of stuff and it has side-to-side bending forces, you need more tensile strength than just mild steel. That's why it's always good, if you can afford it. You know, I'm working on a video on where to buy knife steel online. I like Pop's Knife Supply, New Jersey Steel Baron, Jant's Knife Supply, Alpha Knife, and like there's a bunch of other knife supply places, but they sell blade steel that's specifically designed for making knives and axes and other stuff. You know, you wouldn't want to have a super high torque, you know, 4-wheel drive, you know, Jeep with a mild steel drive shaft. That stuff would just twist and shear right off. You need something that's got actual engineering and science behind it. Now, the reason why I got all the C channel is because when I originally started this, you know, I got the I-beam base. All I had at the time was this 4-inch diameter, 1/4-inch wall tube to it. It's kind of a bitch, excuse my language, but we're working on that. But trying to clear the area around the trail here so that way we can disassemble it. finding some of my work in progresses over here. I gotta still finish up. Which I'll be able to do that. Because luckily they just need some tweaking, some reforging. And sometimes you have mistakes where stuff gets too thin or whatever, and it's kind of hard to see the hole through there. I will that, but it's always nice to have an extra bottle opener for the beer fridge in the shop. So that's a plus. Now, one of the things I'm guilty of is I have not I have not forged my own tongs yet. I attempted a while ago, then I just didn't bother with it. But luckily, Ken's Custom Iron, he sells tong blanks, and he's got YouTube videos, and also, if you're old school, he's got paper instructions, but I'm a visual learner. But you can get like a tong set that'll be able to work for holding blade steel, and also you get like the square jaw tong, so you can actually hold on to like square stock and round stock. If I remember correctly, is this my really expensive steel? It might be. A while back I bought some S7 steel. I think that I just found that chunk, so that'll be good. That stuff is really tough. I've made some punches and stuff from it. Still trying to learn how to. They have the heat treating stuff, but I kind of messed it up on one of them. But it's great 'cause it's an air hardening steel. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, if you think like 100 plus old, like a blacksmith or someone in metallurgy, like, oh yeah, we're gonna in the future going to have these really tough steels that you take it out of the forge, you leave it in the air, it hardens, and also you can use it as punches in like high heat applications, and it won't, deform or break. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's 100 years ago plus. It's like, no. That's what happens when you give scientists time to work with weird alloys of steel and just experiment. That's why, like, NASA really, like, I recently saw a clip of Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about how, those high torque battery powered tools that you have, like Ryobi, Milwaukee, DeWalt, Makita, all those battery powered drills. Yeah, NASA invented that because, you can't be out in space repairing the space station with a giant extension cord. So that was a cool thing to learn. But yeah, NASA, because they have to deal with temperatures that are ridiculous with reentry or other stuff, had to invest in figuring out what alloys are actually able to withstand temperatures and abuses. So that's a nice thing. I also learned, like, if any of you guys are like, any like the gun tubers, like Brandon Herrera, I recently watched a video on Forgotten Weapons did a video on Brandon's AK-50 project, and how, like, one of the spring injectors, the extractor. The extractor is made from S7 because when you're dealing with a smaller part, especially with like 50 BMG, the amount of stresses and stuff, that was a cool thing to learn. Like, oh, I didn't realize they could use S7 for, freaking hand artillery. one of the future projects I want to do is I want to try to make a proportional AK style bayonet for the AK-50. I know it's not necessary, but it would be cool as hell to, have a AK style bayonet on the AK-50. Also, whenever you cut metal, like I've found a couple of these strips of metal that have big burrs on them, and I'm gonna grind them so that they're not sharp before I put them away, because it's not fun sticking your hand into a pile of metal and then getting sliced up. Now, even though this isn't really a popular thing right now, one of the things I've learned that's helped my channel grow is if you do live streams, always make custom thumbnails. So like whatever you're working on currently, take a picture. Don't just have I love bar run, farm and forge, but just having, a text, tinker with Troy, or, working in the shop, but like no picture on what you're actively working on, that doesn't grab people. People see a catalog of stuff on YouTube and they just see something with text that says something, they're not going to want to watch that. But if you have a picture, even if it's just like a picture of just the forge burning, people are visual. So if you see that, so every picture for my YouTube live streams, I take a picture before I start the stream, so that way, it's more engaging. Obviously, also the title helps, but it's helped me gain literally like 1,000+ subscribers in the past couple months. Obviously, working on the forging stuff and other things, because across the world, forging still utilized. I gotta be careful when I kneel, because there's a lot of metal that could go into my knee. And that face you make when knee surgery comes. Another thing is, my dad, me and my dad, we kind of, I gave my dad the idea, but he made the prototype. We made a simple knife/axe throwing thing, and we just got to refine the design on, make it so you can fold it. So just say if you wanted to take that to like a park or whatever, if they allow it. Obviously, people are Nancy's nowadays, but that way you'd be able to actually take it with you, go somewhere with more space or just no people, and you can actually enjoy learning knife throwing and axe throwing. And yeah, I will do a video once I get more practice in, because when I was in high school, I kind of got obsessed with knife throwing, and at first I did the spin method, but then I learned about the half spin / no spin, and I wasn't the best at it, but I was able to do it fairly consistently. So that was pretty cool. I gotta take this out. But we're gonna have one more send off for Stompy. We're gonna crush a bottle cap. That is a nice thing with Stompy because you can take a bottle cap and just flatten it one go. So if you're like a Fallout 4 character, you know, I need more space. You just stomp the bottle caps. Obviously, you can't do that because they want the bottle caps intact so that they know that it's not counterfeit, which Fallout accurately shows how the idea of money is kind of stupid, where it's just a thing. It's a representation of something that isn't real. You know, in the old days, you know, just say a blacksmith made a farm or something, the farmer wouldn't trade him some food or grain or other stuff. I gotta de-rust this. I think this is sharp enough. All right, goodbye, Stompy. Yeah, I didn't even sharpen this thing just from hand sanding. So this was just some Yule tape that we had on here. But the nice thing I did with, let me make sure I turn you guys so you can actually see stuff, is, let me rotate. Right. Is, for the actual head, I welded on a thing here. Oh, I need a pair of pliers for that. I just have a miniature shackle thing. Oh, it is a shackle. It's a... See, I just had a pair. Found a lesbian, I mean a dyke. Oh, I might. And yeah, the good thing with Stompy is that we'll be able to revive Stompy. We'll be able to, once we get the power hammer running, if the hybrid, you know, power hammer, treadle hammer thing doesn't work, we can always just get a remake Stompy with the metal construction. So the shackle went flying, which sucks, but I'll be able to find it. I'm going to move you guys for a second. We're going to go on the tripod. Or actually, we can't. The things I did with the treadle hammer. So this is actually just some square tubing. Actually, I'm turning you guys around. So this is some square tubing. At the time, I didn't have any 3/4 inch bar, so I just used this 3/4 inch all thread, which isn't perfect because it's slightly off. But this old sledgehammer head, I actually got from a local building that was getting torn down, and the guy said, "Yep, you can keep it." So I welded on some extra weight, which you can see my welds were crappy. But this is the part that the spring and the shackle held onto, and I was able to weld a nut into the shank. So I'm going to get the adjustable because I wanted this to be removable. At the time, I thought I'd be able to like flip this around and use this end for heavy duty forging, but I ended up never doing that. So the adjustable works. Come on. But this way, you can take the hammerhead off. And because the spring itself was directly attached to the hammer, even if this thing failed and wanted to fly out, this spring would help prevent this from coming out and hitting you. So, because this is what I had at the time. A lot of hammers people use, they just get like a sledgehammer that has a wooden handle and they like adapt it onto like, you know, a metal rod for the pivot point. I wanted something that had a little bit better things, and I just put an extra nut on there. But now I gotta put the nut down. You'll be able to take this out. You can see I got that shank. So if we want to reuse that, we can. Put this down over here. And if you're wondering, this isn't just a regular square tubing. It's hard to see in there. But I welded a piece of flat bar on the inside, so I added some extra stiffness. I realized I don't think I needed to do that, but I did that anyway, so. And all I gotta do, I'm gonna put you guys back up on the thing. I can't put you on the tripod, or actually I'll take this thing off. Or maybe, give me a second. Be able to put you guys, sorry, I gotta flip you around. The phone's all set. I'm using my, this little phone camera mount thing. But it's always a pain trying to figure out where to put it, because you think it'll be in the spot, but then when you actually put it somewhere, it's like, not really. Alrighty, so let's turn you guys around. So if you got any comments, this is a good camera on the phone. So we're just gonna be, so Stompy's getting taken apart. But we're saving all the components because we can reuse it for stuff. All right, time to move the dike, the lesbian. Actually, I need that. But yeah, so far this lasted quite a while. I have the original shackles. I think that's what it's called. The other one went flying, but you can see I've used Stompy for quite a while. It didn't have too much wear in there, so that's pretty good. And this is just one of the small ones, so these things are actually worth it. Like, they're actually pretty tough. Check the time. A little bit. Nah, I won't. So I got one of my wrenches. So if you guys are ever trying to make like a homemade, pretty much anything for blacksmithing, 3/8 all thread or bolts, because you can pretty much find the nuts and the all thread everywhere. So actually I gotta get a little container to save all these because I'm always losing these damn things. Like it's like I've got a few screws loose. Old coffee containers are great for just regular, trying to hold on to different bits that you don't want to lose. Actually, I realize I gotta do this stuff. Gonna move you guys one more time so that way you can actually see what the hell's going on. Just seeing my back doesn't really do anything for learning, so. Nope, that's broken. Okay. Trying to figure out where to put you guys. Honestly, I'm just gonna take you guys off of the. Sorry about that. This is the. I forget what it's called. It's some form of caramel thing, but we're gonna go on to the tripod. Good old reliable. Sorry for this crappy camera experience, but right now, trying to get this reattached to the tripod. Just imagine you're a video game character getting your head reattached like a robot or something. I don't know. Be imaginative. There you can see once we remove Stompy, and also we're going to move this bucket and reorganize the steel to fit in the wall, we'll have more room. I got to cut the legs on the power hammer because I had them too long, and also because I'm still new at the welding, they kind of warp. So if I cut them like a foot out, then it won't be too warped. I'll probably still have to shim it, but we'll still be able to anchor it to the floor. Actually, what I just realized. Because I tried drilling these holes fairly large. Well, not super large, but tried making them. But I need to remove the back nut because this ball thread might grab the wood. That's the thing. If you ever make a treadle hammer and like the whole frame's made out of wood, minus obviously like the anvil and hammer part, always make sure you have like some water on hand, and like always double check. Like I would always do a smoke test. Basically, like after I'm forging, before I go to work or before I'm done in the garage, I'll come back like 20 minutes later and make sure that this needs to get out of my way. I didn't quite want to go. Well, at the very least, we'll be able to at least get this nut off. The yellow thread will come out later when we disassemble the rest of the wood frame. Yeah, I didn't even properly have like anchoring cement or glue. Like I was able to screw this to part of the garage wall, like part of the concrete frame. There's like wood on it that was attached to it, so I literally screwed that. Like this thing, I'm surprised like it only took forever for it to break when I had to redo it. But Stompy served us well, because they'll help make a bunch of bottle openers and other stuff, so that makes me happy. There you go. Yeah, I forgot that it doesn't have the thing attached to it, but the bearing's still good, and we can save it for a future project. But yeah, this whole thing was a MacGyver mess. Like I didn't have, these are 3/4 inch bearings. At the time, all I had was this 3/4 inch rod, and it did kind of bend a little. I don't know if that was, keep on dropping the damn thing. All right, I'm gonna take these off, put them on the shelf. But see, Stompy's on the way out. I'm gonna move this stuff. The other side we won't be able to take off because I welded that. Because my dad used to work construction, putting water and sewer lines in. All the bolts that hold the valves and stuff for sewer are 3/4 inch diameter. They're a T-shape. We'll be able to have room. This is why I like milk crates. So if you're trying to do stuff, you don't want to have to sit on the floor and kneel. Now I want to keep this all thread intact because this thing's so good. It's a little bit bent, but the threads are still good. They haven't gotten marred up or messed up. So I don't know if people care for ASMR track, but this is what a big nut being unscrewed sounds like. right, enough of that. In a world of OSHA violations. That's what this freaking thing is. In a world of OSHA violations. If this was a proper, you know, shop, but it's not yet. But that's why. Yeah, we're not gonna have room over there. Okay. Yeah, so I gotta unscrew this side. Wrong side. I didn't weld this thing, did I? I don't think I did, so it should be. Damn, that thing don't want to come out. How are we doing for time? All right, guys. I gotta go. I gotta eat brunch and get ready for work. But thank you guys for watching. Tomorrow, we're working more on this, and I'll do some more stuff off camera, so that way you guys aren't completely bored. But Stompy will be no more, but we get the reused parts of Stompy to make the new power hammer. I don't know what we're gonna name the new power hammer, but we'll figure it out. But guys, remember, be safe, have fun, make cool stuff. And even though it's annoying, organization matters. As much as someone with ADHD and all that crap, it matters because it's so damn annoying trying to find something for a 1-minute job. It takes you 10 minutes to find the damn part. So, see you guys.